step back, test the concept with people, let them be brutally honest with you. Also, really evaluate whether you have the business skills that are going to be required to be a successful entrepreneur. People really underestimate that. And it's why do 50% of businesses go out within 2 years? There are tons of operational things that you have to do. And they don't just come to you. They have to know about you, which means that you have to be a marketer. And then you have to know how to close someone. And then you have to know legally what to give them to protect you and them. Really take a hard look at, do you have what it takes to wear all those hats and be effective?
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we discuss how to grow 1% every day in both business and in self. Today, we have Anne-Marie, the CEO of Patient Advocators. Recently seen on ABC, NBC, US News, and LA Times, Anne-Marie is helping people around the United States get the best doctors, the best treatments, and the best resources while minimizing their out-of-pocket expenses. Super excited to hear about Anne-Marie developed Patient Advocates and how she's helping the world be 1% better every single day. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's exciting to hear, especially in a world, I'm mid-30s now. I'm getting to the point where I probably should always have health insurance. It wasn't really a factor when I was younger. And going through that process of actually getting it and then understanding how to leverage it correctly, where I can go, where I can't go, where it's still going to charge me the mess is so confusing. And I'm realizing now at this age, especially with a little daughter, that it's a necessity, but there's a lot of confusion around that. So I think your business is super, super powerful. Can you give me a background of how you started this, kind of where your passion comes from and where the business is today?
Sure. Well, like most advocates, we have a personal story. Somewhere in the system we used it and maybe it didn't go so well for us or a family member or a friend. In my case, I've spent my career interfacing with I ran big businesses for farmers, so I'm used to talking to doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and family and friends have recognized that and pulled me in to advocate for their personal needs. And when I did that intensely for my father-in-law, family and friends kept saying, "You have a gift for this," and I'm like, "Oh, I already have a job." And they're like, "No, no, no! Like this is a calling, and you should really consider launching a business around it." And I decided to listen. So I did a business plan. I was very formal about it, and learned that basically the people in the industry are nurses. They're natural advocates. They're good at it, but they're lousy business people. And I've run, businesses, several $100 million in size. So that is not an obstacle for me. That's a strength. And so I decided that I could be competitive in this newly emerging marketplace, and that was over 10 years ago. And today I'm, in the top 3, if not the top 1. So business plan checked out.
Yeah, I love that. Dive into a little bit of what it looks like today. So can you talk a little bit through your process of what you're actually doing for people, the size of your company? Give a little context of what Patient Advocators looks like in 2025.
Yeah. So we do 2 things for people. We handhold them through the system so that they can get the best possible care and have the highest quality life and the longest life possible. I say longest life because a lot of our clients have cancer. We're really well known for cancer. We've always been way out ahead on the emerging science to help people both properly diagnose their cancer as well as find very targeted treatments. And right now, I'm lucky I have a PhD from Harvard in cell biology on my team, and she brings tremendous value to our clients. So doctors are still, particularly in the middle of the country, catching up on a lot of the science, and we help fill it in when we work with them, is what I'm saying. The other piece that we do is insurance, because that's the commerce of healthcare. That's how we pay for healthcare. And so you can't really do one without the other. It's not work that we enjoy because it often requires doing some battle, but we have collectively returned $7 million to our clients over the past decade, which is a very meaningful number. We hold insurers accountable in the process.
Hey, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the content. Just want to take a quick intermission to address the business owners watching this right now. I have been in the marketing industry for over a decade, and I have found that there is 2 major things that I am trying to help the world understand. One, there's a common denominator to success. Every successful business has the same foundational structure built out, and we'd love to be able to support and understanding what that foundation is. And 2, 90% of marketing agencies screw you over for one clear identifier, and that is data. Only 3% of consumers are ready to purchase today. The other 97% are being nurtured by your advertising dollars and advertising spend. We created Kaizen Marketing Agency to give you ownership of not only the customers that you're getting through your front door, but also the ownership of your data and understanding what actually grows your business and giving you the control to be able to grow it. My goal personally is to be one of the best marketers in the world. And the only way to do that is to help as many businesses as I possibly can actually grow their company. Not just sell Facebook ads or Google ads, but put a service together that gives you ownership and growth. So I hope you enjoy this content. If you're loving it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really want to know more about how to grow your company and you want a free audit and game plan, we'll hand you the keys to the kingdom of how to be successful. Click the link below. We'll do a 15-minute audit. First 10 minutes, we'll really break down your business. Last 5 minutes, we'll show you those common denominators that you need to be successful for your company and how to implement it into your business. If you want to put in a sweat equity and do it yourself, take our information and run. If you don't want to deal with the headache, that's when you hire us. Super powerful. So let me unpack that a little bit. So you go and you work with an individual and help them not only find doctors, but when they do find doctors, educate the doctors and the potential of how to help the patient. And then once that process starts getting into rotation, the people that are actually getting helped, then you go and fight the insurance companies to ensure that they're the ones paying the dollars to get these things done because it's a necessity. It's why they pay for health insurance in the first place. Do I have that accurate?
Right, that is accurate. I would say, though, I would characterize what we do with doctors as more collaborative, meaning we bring to doctors information that they don't get because insurers are breathing down their back and saying, come on, move on, get to the next patient. But our clients pay us to go deep with them, and we in turn deliver that in a very concise manner to the doctors so that they can do the kind of job for their patients that they want to do, but very often are not allowed to do.
So powerful. True advocators for the betterment of the people, not just in the insurance realm, not just in the health realm, but all around. Talk to me a little bit about your ideal customer. Who are you working with the most? You brought up cancer, which is a very difficult overall field, and I only feel for you having to help those people every single day. But do you work with stuff outside of cancer as well? General health practitioners?
Yes, thank you for asking. We're best known for both cancer and mental health, not necessarily in the same client, can be discrete, someone just with cancer, someone with, treatment-resistant depression, eating disorder, PTSD, you name it. But we do a lot more than that. We have clients right now where the kids live in Chicago and the mom and dad are in another state. The kids have jobs, they don't really know the healthcare environment. And so we're brought in to be the eyes, ears, and the navigator for their parents. Those are probably the three biggest buckets, but we've had clients with Parkinson's, we've had clients with strokes, clients who've had heart attacks, pretty much most of the afflictions that people get, we've had a hand in. And I have a team. One of the things that distinguishes my practice from others is I have a full bench, so to speak. So I have nurses, and I mentioned the PhD cell biologist. I have insurance professionals. And so that multi-talented team allows us to really bring a lot to the table for our clients.
Okay. And are you working with a small group of people? Are you expanding? I'm curious how, obviously, you have a bench of high intellect and very supportive people specifically for what you're going to do, which is support people to get them the best practice possible, as well as on their insurance side. But are you expanding across the US? I saw from your website you're working with people all across the US. That's accurate?
We always have. In fact, I'm based in New Jersey, and my first two clients were in California. And this was long before COVID, and we learned how to do things remotely. We've always operated remotely, and I would say we meet fewer than 1% of our clients, but we are amazingly effective for them, even in the absence of that physical contact.
I love this. Okay. I have to ask, how do you inform new people about you? Obviously, you're doing great work. You're getting referrals and people are talking about you. But do you have anything out there that's an outbound effort to educate people that you guys exist and to bring more clients up?
Well, we've been lucky. The media has been very interested in what we do. We have not reached out to them. They, like you, have reached out to us. So that has helped a lot in terms of building awareness and credibility. I do work, you'd be crazy not to work on SEO, search engine optimization. So I do play in that as well. And then, yes, you're exactly right. Referrals are a big part of our business. I joke that our clients never go away. They just keep sending in more and more family members and friends. I'm thinking right now about a client I worked with starting 5 years ago. He was the grandfather. And, now I work with his widow. I work with one of his sons. I work with some of his grandkids. That's a natural kind of progression for us.
And if you do good business, for everyone listening, entrepreneurs and business owners, that's what happens. When you do good business, you get referred to more people because they want to talk about people that actually help them in this world.
Right.
And Anne-Marie's very, very powerful. You mentioned before we got online about a show on HBO Vice. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes. So HBO Vice did a very long segment on what is patient advocacy. Two people were featured, so me and someone who did our insurance work at the time. She has since retired. And it was a very impressive piece. And we're lucky that they did that to educate people because, how will I put it? You don't know what you don't know when you start using the system. And what I can tell you that we know is that medical error is the third leading cause of death. So if you know about it and you can afford it, you are well served to have a private advocate by your side navigating the system. Think of it in the same way you think about going to court. Most people don't go to court without an attorney, but yet we go to hospitals without someone who knows the ins and outs of how they work. And just beware if you find yourself in that situation.
Great analogy. I love that. Yeah, because it's very true. We always have this emergency moment or something that's happening in our lives, and that's when we run to hospitals. But that's the time where we need the most clarity. And I think a time where people really get abused because they're in that high stress, high anxiety positioning that the doctors can basically say whatever they want to say. And we're going to say, okay, you're the doctor, you know best. But the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers don't lie of where
Well,
errors really happen.
and again, in the defense of doctors, it's like any profession. Are there some bad apples? For sure. But the majority of them are very high quality and know what they're doing. It's just the system makes it very, very difficult for them to execute against that. And so I'll give you an example. I have a local client who was being seen she had an oncology team at one institution, including a hospital. She suddenly was inpatient in that hospital. We had already met with an oncologist at a different hospital system, and we liked that person. And now we're inpatient, and we're learning that the MRI machine is down. And we are 2 days late being inpatient because the team we were working with, their phone system wasn't working. And even when it was, they weren't responsive. To make a long story short, so now she's in the hospital and she's septic, and we don't have the technology that we need to figure this out. And so I said to her, I really think we should think about moving. And she said, could we? And I said, I could try. Because of the relationships that we build with doctors, I was able to reach out to just that one oncologist we had met with and explain the situation. This was at 4 o'clock on a Friday, and that doctor jumped on it, and we had our client moved by the next morning. That's what you want. You want someone who's kind of reading the tea leaves and seeing what's working, what's not, and coming to you with recommendations and things that we can do proactively to improve upon it. And that's what we do every day.
Advocators. I love that. So in my head, my brain is running of how each industry needs people like that that can, as you said, read the tea leaves and really understand at a 10,000-foot overview of what's going on and do the best possible thing for the client that they have at hand. I have to ask, where do you plan on taking? You said it's been about 10 years now with Patient Advocators. You've gone and grown across the US. You have this amazing spot on HBO. You've been on multiple different news outlets. Where is the company going from here? Do you have a goal for the next 12 to 18
Mhm.
months?
So, in addition to having media reach out to us for stories, we also have people with money, investors, every day writing us and asking, could they invest in our company? And you'll be surprised. The answer is always, if I scale it right now, that means that my job description changes dramatically. I'm no longer doing advocacy. And instead, I'm doing, raising money. I'm pleasing my investors. I'm hiring more people, all of that. And I love my job. I mean, I love my job. I don't ever envision not having my job. And I'm 64 years old. Like I envision working until sometime in my 80s. So for me, it's not about the money. It's about the soulfulness I have of doing amazing things for people who trust me at a time that they are the most vulnerable. That's like really, that's just, that's just, it fuels my heart and it's enough. That may change at some point, but right now I'm good with that.
It is so powerful and such a beautiful sentiment. If you're watching or listening to this right now, hopefully you can hear the passion, the animation coming from Anne-Marie of how much she really cares. And every single person that told you to start this business, they were 100% right. You have to have that level of passion as a business owner for it to actually work in the long run, and not only just work, but succeed like you are. It comes from the core foundation of your passion and your desire to do good for people. And that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. For the listeners out there, could you give, as a business owner, you've worked in corporate America for many, many years and you come into owning your own business. Is there something, maybe a challenge or a story or a sentiment that you could give to our listeners that are, mainly entrepreneurs and business owners listening to this right now, that a piece of advice to help them down their journey to make them a better entrepreneur?
Don't love your pizza too much. Meaning this is your baby. You love your product, whether it's pizza or it's, an Uber driver, or it's, who wants to get a greater fleet or whatever it is. Step back, test the concept with people, let them be brutally honest with you. And also really evaluate whether you have the business skills that are going to be required to be a successful entrepreneur. People really underestimate that. And it's, why do, 50% of businesses go out within 2 years? And by the way, my industry is no different in that regard. It's because they think, oh, they'll just come to me. You know, advocates it's so necessary in this, terribly dysfunctional healthcare world. Of course, people are going to hire me. And of course, I'm going to know how to service them. But, there are tons of operational things that you have to do. And they don't just come to you. They have to know about you, which means that you have to, be a marketer. And then you have to know how to close someone. And then you have to know legally what to give them to protect you and them. And then you have to be available to them. And in our business, this is a concierge business. That means, I'm taking calls when I'm on vacation. I'm, servicing clients on a weekend, not because I like it that way, but I care enough that I want what they need. So really take a hard look at, do you have what it takes to wear all those hats and be effective?
Great advice. That was a golden nugget. Do not care about your pizza so much. I love that. I'm going to use that because it is so, so true. At the end, we are, no matter what business you're in, if you're a business owner, you are in business for the people that you are serving. If you care too much about the pizza and not enough for the people, you'll find yourself in a massive problem. And yeah, Anne-Marie is 100% right. You can never assume, it's like having a kid. You can never assume what's going to happen when you have a kid. You can never assume all the difficulties you're going to run into when you start a business. It is everything from the sales to the operations to the process. But people like Emery that have the motivation to help the world, you will strive through those problems, those difficulties, those challenges. You will learn new things and really evolve throughout the process. And I think that's what makes an incredible entrepreneur. I have one last question for you, Anne-Marie. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that means 1% improvement every day, or taking small steps towards a larger goal. I believe in this wholeheartedly, and I find a lot of entrepreneurs feel the same way, that they've constantly tried to move that ball up the hill at 1% every single day. And there's certain things that people do, from morning routines to what they read, what they study, how they conceptualize, that allows them to make that progression. What do you do as an individual outside of your business that allows you to keep that motivation, that love, that drive to help people grow your business and be able to service the world the way you do and move it forward 1% every single day?
I would say it's twofold. One is I'm a voracious reader. So I am, reading daily newspapers, cover to cover. I'm reading the latest books that offer intelligence about what's going on in cancer and mental health. And we bring those cutting edge, whether they're Eastern or Western treatments, to our clients because we're very open minded and we don't pretend for a second we have all the answers. We certainly don't. And then the second thing is training my people to be better advocates, to understand from what I've been doing all these years, what they can learn from in order to deliver more for our clients.
That's awesome. So really just breaking down a knowledge reading, I'm right with you. have about 3 or 4 on my desk right now where I'm going chapter by chapter reading through because I do believe that mentors and knowledge is found way easier in these books than they are anywhere else. And then 2, really being in love and involved in your business. I love that. I absolutely love that, Emery. Can you, if there is somebody listening to this podcast right now that wants more information, who wants an advocate for their health and their support, how would they get connected with you? How do they find you? How do you make that connection?
So you can write me at yourchampion.health, or you can call me at 908-273-4043, and I'll answer the phone.
I love that. You can always also check out our website at patientadvocators.com, and all of that information from
Mhm.
her email or phone number and the website will be found below in the description. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate this. And for the listeners out there, if you finished the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next Kaizen podcast.